Hey everybody, welcome to Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. My name is Reed with Best Made Videos. We are a wedding videography company based out of West Seattle, Washington, and I'm so excited to be joined today in person. Again, we're doing a couple of these in person. Again, I like getting face-to-face with everybody. Christine Byrd with DT Bridal Artistry. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah. Introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Christine. I am the owner and lead stylist of DT Bridal Artistry. We are a team of independent stylists that come to our brides for their convenience and comfort on their wedding days and trials.
Yeah, we were just talking off mic about, we worked together earlier this summer with Melody and James, and that was awesome. And she was stunning. And it was such a kind of an easy day too, because it was just her and him, and they got ready in the same hotel room. And, it was kind of different, but it was nice.
Yeah, it was quaint. It was cute. It was beautiful. Gorgeous.
Yeah, we had like 2.5 hours to do photos. I was like, this is a lot, because we didn't have we didn't have a lot of bridal party or whatever. It was great. So talk to me about how's your season going? Are you ready to be going into the fall? How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, season's been action packed. So 2019 was definitely successful for us. We've been up and running for about 2 years now. So, we're just up on the uphill for the time going. And finally, being here in Washington, we definitely have a down season for weddings. So we've been, pushing to be more consistent through the fall and winter. But during these times, we like to do a lot of bridal trials. So make sure that everybody's booking on time and are able to reserve their dates.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because I see a lot of people post online. I mean, you obviously recommend having a trial with, whoever to make sure. So, I mean, talk about that if someone isn't sure why, or they think, well, do I need a trial, or what's going on?
Trials are so important. I mean, nowadays, thank goodness for Pinterest, there's so much inspiration, but you really kind of want to lock down and nail what kind of look you're going for. And we always recommend having a few different looks and styles. And trials are great to make sure that you have the comfort of knowing what you're going to get the day of. So yeah, that's why we kind of recommend doing trials before the weddings, usually a couple months beforehand. That way we're able to kind of communicate via email and just
make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah, make sure we're all on the same page.
It's so funny because my wife Dorothy, when we got married, she's so just kind of laissez-faire about some stuff, and even makeup. I mean, she does her makeup, but that was such a process of her going through trials and stuff and trying to find somebody, and I just couldn't believe that. And not that she was a bridezilla, but it's trying to find the right look and the right artist and the right, if you're not used to people aren't usually used to putting on that much
Absolutely
stuff.
Not. And in all honesty, here in Washington too, we do have a more natural dynamic of brides, which is great. But every once in a while, we definitely get a glam bride, and that's always exciting to kind of mix it up. But definitely nailing down your glam squad is high priority. I mean, you got to look good for your wedding pictures and your videography. So we're pretty important.
What are some of the kind of trends right now in terms of makeup and stuff? What are girls looking for? Like you said, and that could be specific to Seattle, but what's the trend right now?
Definitely bohemian. And I don't think that it's going out for quite some time. We have so many barnyard weddings and farmhouse style weddings that the bohemian feel kind of goes. It's more laid back, get the hairs down, more natural makeup, nude lips. And I don't think that trend's going to be falling for a while. So
it's so funny. The barn, I tell you, it's like every other weekend right now. And we were at a golf course last week, and that was nice.
We just did one at Edgewater. I was like, oh, this is so refreshing to have a Seattle wedding is kind of what I felt like when you bring it back downtown. And
oh, I love the Edgewater. Yeah. That's a good beautiful space in there. So how did you kind of get involved in this? Have you always been, kind of in this field, but then also, we can later transition into kind of getting this team and stuff together. But how did you kind of get involved? What's your start?
Yeah, actually, so I've been in the industry for 12 years. Started out salon-based, specialized in cutting hair, actually, and styling hair. And kind of wanted to mix it up. It turned more into a routine, and I started losing a little bit of passion. So dug deep and decided to take on the brides, which is always kind of scary to start with. But, just kind of eventually turned into a passion again. And being a part of women's biggest days of their lives is so spectacular and rewarding that I don't think it's ever going to stop. So
yeah, it's different, when you're in a salon, and do you feel like it's a little bit more, you're there and people are coming in where now you're having to kind of go out and attract clients? Was that kind of a flip?
Definitely attracting clients, but not, I don't know, not feeling like you're in a grocery store. And it's just a completely different dynamic. I mean, in the salon, you're doing your colors and cuts. It's kind of off trend now to kind of go into the salon and get your hair styled for the big day, which is why I think it's so great that so many people offer that on-site comfortability of having somebody come to you rather than relying on an appointment. Does that kind of
absolutely
make sense?
Do you enjoy kind of being a part of that atmosphere, getting ready and being with it? Talk about that, because I mean, it is hair and makeup, and it's such a part of the day. It really sets the tone. You guys are the first ones there with the bridal party. So talk about just kind of being a part of that world.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much fun. We get to be your best friends for 4 hours. So we get to see the quiet. I just woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to it all of a sudden it turning into an adrenaline rush when the photographer arrives and it's go time. You get to see the progression of just somebody already being so beautiful turning into the princess that they envisioned, and being this woman that is so excited and happy, and it's the best day of her life. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty exciting being a part of that and seeing the progression from beginning to end.
What kinds of brides do you find, want to work with you guys, and who do you like to work with?
We definitely attract the more easygoing brides. I always get asked that question day of, honestly, by at least 3 people in the bridal party. Do you have any bridezilla stories? And in all honesty, I haven't come across any bridezillas at all. It's 100% honest. Okay. I'm not sugarcoating anything. But it's definitely just more laid back and easygoing. Just people who usually don't wear makeup. So you're their biggest advice for the day. And, you guide them to transform them into something that they've always dreamed of. So,
yeah, I mean, it really is a remarkable, because I'll see, for good and bad, I'll see brides most of the day kind of, made up, and then you look back and you're like, oh, that's what I like. This is really, but it is, this enhancing, like you said, I think it's just like having that idealistic kind of, right? Is it tough to balance between wanting to make them look, the best they can, but also making them look like them, right?
Yes. So that's kind of what we stand by, we enhance, we don't hide. I think a lot of people hide behind makeup, and I don't think that that's the correct answer. I mean, makeup is there to enhance the best features on a woman's face, her eyes, her lips, her cheekbones. And we always, especially during trials, let them know, like, I want you to look back on your photos 10, 20 years from now and still recognize yourself rather than regret putting on a full face of makeup because it's just one day out of your entire life that you get to be made up.
Yeah, but it is also, it's that balance too, because you get people that, I don't want to, they don't wear a lot of makeup, but like even some guys benefit from a little powder or whatever, just
little touch-ups.
Because when it's photos and light and reflection, I mean, it's just
they don't think about it.
Yeah, they don't. But we've had guys where, like they're bald or whatever, and it's like you need to, you got to get a little bit of stuff on that.
That's the ongoing dad joke. When's dad's turn?
Is that a thing now? Or are you guys doing?
We definitely offer men's touch-ups and groom touch-ups and stuff like that. Of course, it's always a battle. They're very scared when you come with them with a powder brush, but we have to let them know that it's the bride's day. So.
Yeah, we did some corporate shoot, and they wanted to have just some touch-up stuff, and there was some like 16-year-old boys that came in, and they were like mortified to take
oh
it.
no.
It's like, buddy, you gotta look good.
Yes.
You get that reflection and stuff. It's good to clean up. So What was it like? So talk about the transition from, doing the salon work to really kind of getting into the wedding to, starting your company, kind of doing that whole, what was that process like?
Oh, scary. It was horrifying. I actually hopped on board with another bridal team for a while and helped them for a while and kind of realized it wasn't the perfect fit for myself. And I had a goal that I wanted to have strong, independent women. And yes, men can join our team too. I'm not saying no to that. But it was really important for me. I'm a mother of two. So it was really important for me to show these women that they could still do what they love while raising their families, which is how my team blossomed. So we have an amazing team of 9 girls or women, and a majority of them are mothers. And this is what they do on their weekends, and they are able to still, what's the word? They're able to provide for their families. But getting people on board for bridal parties and weddings was definitely a really big transition from a salon. So, they were used to step by step on what they were supposed to do, and I needed to prepare them for what could come on a wedding day, because it's very unpredictable. But everybody loves what they do, and my team is amazing. So.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, that's fascinating, to just that education of people just aren't you just aren't used to kind of that world, right?
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe. I mean, it's go time. It's 4 hours, fast paced, service after service, because we want to make sure that we have everybody on time and glamorized before the photographers come. We're kind of the key to making sure a timeline stays on track. So I offer extended classes for hair and makeup so that we're all on the same page. And I'm also able to answer everybody's questions on the teams of, as far as what they need for a kit, makeup product lines, and, little tips and tricks to make sure we stay on schedule.
Yeah. And it's just, even like the chaos and, you're in the room and it's disheveled and there's stuff, and like we had one of the last weddings we were at, and we had to do photos in one way, and so then they had to move, and then we had to move something out, and then they end up and you're like in the corner of the thing, and like this is it's way different than a salon, but still having to like deliver that product. I mean, it just, you have to be very skilled to then kind of adapt.
You have to be flexible, and as long as we have an outlet and a table, we can literally do hair and makeup everywhere. So on that note, if we need to be put into a corner, we'll go there. And I think that's really nice that we're able to have the flexibility of being able to literally do our service anywhere. A lot of people definitely think that we just need a box or a salon, and that's not true. So
what was it like, establishing and really kind of saying like, I'm going to go ahead and make this go on my own? What were some of the challenges that you kind of thought maybe would be easier, or things that you've struggled with, just in terms of like as an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say challenge-wise is just mind over matter for me personally. I think I've put myself in a different mindset of just really going and getting. And I just see DivineTouch just blossoming huge. That's just what I see. I don't want it to be small and compact. I want us to be able to take care of every kind of bride out there and their bridal party. And we can literally travel anywhere around Washington, which is really nice. I mean, even the San Juan Islands. We have had a few weddings out there in Spokane. Thank goodness that it wasn't snowing during the time that we went there. But I don't really see... I don't look at them as challenges, I suppose. I just look at it as steps on where I want the company to go.
Where do you think that motivation comes from?
Probably my family. I'd say, I know it's so stereotypical for the family, but I want to create a legacy for my family and a security and a name for myself. I never pictured myself just being average. So... that's kind of where it is.
That's awesome.
Go big or go home.
So what was it about this how'd you kind of get into salons to begin with? What was it? I mean, were you like a girl that grew up like always doing stuff?
I was such a tomboy. I grew up being a competitive swimmer. I thought I was going to go to college and swim for university, and plans changed. I had my daughter at a young age, and I needed to step up to the plate. And I was a lifeguard and swim instructor, and I told myself like, hey, you need a career, not just a job. And I put myself through school. Nobody helped me with that. And cosmetology just really took off for me. I loved it. And I worked for Jean Perez for quite some time and kind of thought that that was the best place for me at that time. And I just knew I needed more. So I also dabbled in the editorial world and still do that every once in a while, but weddings is where I thrive.
That's fascinating. The swimming must have been challenging, to say the least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did that since I was like 6. So grew up competitive with swimming. And when the course changed and I wasn't going to go swim for a university, I knew that I needed to find a passion elsewhere. So
a lot of those same lessons, though, in terms of discipline and know, drive and stuff, obviously have to.
I do. I think that kind of comes from the background of growing up athletic and having, knowing where I wanted to go with things, goal setting for sure. That's thanks, Mom. Always knew that would come handy one day. But definitely, it's just a different mindset. You can't get down on yourself. You got to keep going.
What was kind of reactions when you said, hey, I'm going to, go into weddings and kind of start this company?
Well, a lot of people can't jump on board with having a vision so grand when they only see the necessary steps. So explaining people what I want to do with the company and how big I want it to go. I have a lot of people like, oh, you should probably start down here, and I'm like, no, we need to keep aiming and go higher. Time is of the essence. So what's so great though is meeting great people in the industry like yourself. Then we can all support each other and move forward, and we can all build a dream together. I think that that's amazing.
How do you find, what do you find is the best way to attract new clients? Is it, through word of mouth, social media?
I think all of it. Social media is a big one. We're on Wedding Wire. I actually find that I find a lot of my brides through Wedding Wire. Wedding Wire and the Facebook, the Seattle Wedding Facebook page, that's miraculous as well. Instagram is okay, but you find a lot of outside brides through there. But every once in a while, you'll get the Washington bride that's Insta stalking you. So that's always exciting. But yeah, I'd say it's all word of mouth, social media, websites, web, pages, things like that.
Do you find that there's, what do you find that you are having to educate clients about in terms of the process of hiring somebody? Is there, questions that you feel like you're always answering in terms of the process? Like we kind of talked about getting, trials and stuff, but what do you wish that more people knew about, booking a, hair and makeup artist and they asked?
Oh, that's a good question. Definitely, I have to let people know that they need to reserve their glam team earlier rather than later. They always assume that somebody's going to be available. Sadly, I've had so many brides towards the end of our wedding season that are reaching out 2 weeks in advance. Like we're already booked. In fact, we've been booked for 6 to 9 months. I have noted that on the knot.com, when they have their wedding timelines of when you should reserve their vendors, reserving your beauty team is 4 weeks in advance. And that's not long enough at all. So I always have to let people know, you can ponder back and forth between vendors. That's totally fair. But just know, it's really, really competitive and people are booking, as of right now, I'm years in advance. So
yeah, it's tough to kind of educate people about that. And I think that even if it's something where maybe it's not as much a priority to them, with video, okay, well, maybe that's not as much a priority, but that is a priority to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you guys are, all shopping the same vendors,
Definitely.
right? Because, I see all the time online, weeks out, next week, 2 weeks, and I don't always know except talking to you guys, but I'm like, that seems like that's kind of crazy that you should have that figured out.
Yeah. You don't even have to book your trials, right away. Just reserving your date is priority, because then from there you have your trials already set in stone with the bridal package. So you're guaranteed that trial regardless of whenever you want to book it. But just making sure that your wedding date is scheduled is just such a big priority, obviously, through all vendors. But I don't know why people take it for granted with hair and makeup artists. I have no idea. You would think that that's one of the biggest, most important ones. You want to look good for your day.
I always think so, just because it's kind of the foundation of all the photos and video and everything else. And, you get up in the morning, first thing you do is makeup. It's such a part of your day anyway. And I guess the other thing, and maybe, you know way more about this, but I always see, people wanting to book things, and I don't. Is it one of those things where if someone's they're like, well, hey, I just need hair and makeup as the bride, or I need it for 3 people or 10 people or 4, isn't there minimums or a number of people that you need to go? Because I see these people well, I have the most popular wedding day in the year and it's 4 hours away, but I just need hair and makeup. And it's well, you need to make that worthwhile, right? For the artist to reserve the dates.
I definitely think that that's something that stands out about our company. We actually don't have a minimum.
Okay.
And I did that because there are people who like to elope. Port Angeles is so popular to go elope. And it's just the bride, and she doesn't have a bridal party, and there's not maybe a salon that they're interested in Port Angeles that they want to come do their hair and makeup. So now what? Now they either have to do their own hair and makeup, or they're going to have to beg for an artist to come and travel 3 hours away. So what's so great with my team is that I actually check in with them to check on their availability rather than just giving somebody a wedding. And, let them know where the distance is. And our team is just so happy to make people feel good and feel beautiful that they will literally, travel to Port Angeles for just one person. So yeah, no minimums. I think that is what makes us stand apart with the flexibility. Yeah.
No, it's good to know, because I always see that and I always have no idea. And it's because we'll get called, hey, I just need a 30-minute ceremony filmed, the most popular day of the year. And you're well, I can't, so that is good to know with the flexibility, because I don't know how anybody else operates, but that's interesting to know. Because
sometimes brides do start out with just wanting their own hair and makeup services. We always, are able to update their, proposals and things like that. When all of a sudden the bridal party is like, oh no, I need my hair and makeup done. And all of a sudden now you have 12 services that need to get done. That's also something that's really great is I ask, to know at least 2 months in advance as far as who needs all hair and makeup. So that way we are scheduled appropriately. We have to get everything done in 4 hours. So we might need 2 or 3 stylists that day for the brides, depending on services.
Yeah, because it always seems, there's a thing of, oh yeah, and then, mom, and then Aunt Betty, and then, my grandma also needs a touch up. And
I have a twin sister too, is just come in town. It's oh, okay.
Yeah. So, is it, so obviously you have a system down to kind of manage that sort of stuff.
We do, actually. It's a pretty good one. Pretty good system. This year has been so great that I've kind of figured out, what works and what doesn't work. And we're getting closer and closer to what works and being able to schedule and make sure all the bridal parties are getting taken care of, just to make it just so much more convenient. We just know how stressful it is, especially I've talked to a lot of brides who, don't have wedding planners. Everybody's kind of doing it by themselves, and they don't realize how hard of work it is to do a wedding. So anything that I can do to make it easier for them and not have to stress about looking good on their big day, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I don't know how. Just having someone to kind of keep track of just, who you got to hire, whether you have a checklist or whatever is way, I would rather have a human checklist that's kind of keeping me accountable. So how do you guys kind of, do you ever find, just how do you keep things fresh in terms of like, doing the weddings? Is it getting to know the brides? Is it getting to know those people? How do you kind of keep it fresh every weekend where it could be a little more monotonous?
Keeping it fresh. I mean, that's why the trials are so important. That's kind of something that we have. Our trials can take up to 2 hours. So that way we're able to kind of collect a whole bunch of information of what's going on for the day of, their background, how they met their fiance and whatnot. So we're able to kind of connect with them on a whole other level that maybe not a lot of other vendors are able to, which is why I said in the very beginning, that we're your best friends for 4 hours. So I wouldn't necessarily say like keeping it fresh. We're definitely all up to date on the new styles, and we recommend and kind of sway people certain ways with what's possible and what's impossible, if that's kind of what you mean by keeping it fresh.
Yeah. Do you find, in even like education and stuff, you keep it up on techniques? I mean, obviously, I think that stuff changes a lot in terms of like what is hot or what is whatever. I mean, how do you guys kind of keep up on that?
Well, it drives my husband nuts, but literally watching our reality TV, watching ETV, sadly, I'm a really big Kardashian fan. And they are like the trendsetters of our generation right now. So whatever they're doing, you can expect to be big and trickle down into our wedding industry. As of right now, I mean, I could literally tell you what is coming back. You have your Victoria's Secret curls, big volume hair. You have your hair clips. So your hair pieces are coming back. Maybe a little bit more glitz, but I don't see it being full on glam for Washington, but definitely a little bit more glitter on the eye. And hopefully we're swaying away from the nude lip. Add a little color back into the lips.
Really?
So I hope so. I'm pushing for it.
Is the hair, I've noticed this summer the clips in the hair and the extensions, is that making a big comeback?
I'd say it's always been there. I think it's definitely just getting more glamorized in regards to kind of bohemian's always going to be there, but everybody wants more of that thicker beach wave. And people aren't really doing veils too often anymore, unless you're doing maybe a church wedding. But definitely the hair pieces and the flower crowns. Those are really big right now. Eucalyptus. Forever in Eucalyptusville. That's for sure.
Because like Melody, like she had a huge head of hair.
Yeah, she had the glam hair. She wanted that volume and big curl. It was beautiful.
It was so funny too, because I think her mom was like a little more reserved.
Yes.
And we were like, hell
no,
she
honey. Was so glam.
Was she? I felt like there was someone that there was a question of like, is this too big? And we were like, no, man, like you got to make this.
No,
like this
I think that was Groom's mom, because Melody's mom, she was so cute. No, she wanted the full face of makeup. She had her 2 dresses. She was ready to go. Melody sewed her own wedding dress.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Yeah, I was excited to. We hung that outside of the hotel. That was a proud videographer moment. No, but I do remember. Yeah, it was very glam, and it was very. Just elegant with the dress.
That's what it was, elegant. Because I wouldn't say full on glam, because her makeup was very natural. It was just the hair. It just pulled it all together to be very elegant and classy. It was very classy.
Do you guys feel like when people want makeup from you guys, that they trust your opinion?
Absolutely.
And how do you kind of balance? Because if they're like, well, I want this, and you're like, I don't know about maybe 80% of that. Yeah. Or how do you kind of balance that?
When a bride wears her hair down 90% of the time and wants to go up on her wedding day, we definitely make sure that we ask, like, are you going to be comfortable with your hair not on your shoulders? And usually they'll revert back to, oh, maybe I should do like a half up, half down. Because then it's, best of both worlds. But it's all about being comfortable. Just like what we had talked about, when they look back 10 years from now, are they going to say, wow, why did I do a top knot on the top of my head when I wear my hair down every single day of my life? So
yeah, I think that's a great advice, because that was the same thing Dorothy went through. She went and did all these trials and stuff, and then she ended up like just kind of doing, like her hair every day, but
just
nicer.
Just a little bit more enhanced. That's what it's definitely kind of what we sway everybody to do, because you just, after a trial, you want to feel confident and happy, not questioning like 2 hours later, like, oh, do I actually really like this color lipstick? I don't ever wear a deep burgundy in my life, and I decided to go dark. You know, you don't want to regret those decisions because it's the biggest day of your life. So
talk about, trustworthiness and vendor relations, and how can people know, that they found like a hair and makeup team that's good. How do you guys make sure that people know that you guys are,
yeah.
whatever, because I see, and it's the same with video too. I mean, I fight against it all the time, but there are kind of the fly by night makeup people, just like video. I'm fighting with people running off. And how do you guys educate and make sure that people know that they're finding good people?
I've actually heard from quite a few brides lately, just speaking on my own behalf, that they clicked. They heard the excitement while talking to me about building the dream of what they wanted. They just being able to hold a conversation, definitely sounding confident with everything that you're telling the bride. I don't know. I guess it's just personality, whoever you mesh with. There's been a few people that, they just didn't feel the click with me, and that's okay. There's going to be another person out there that will make them feel so beautiful and happy on the day of. So it's definitely just reassuring that bride that we're going to be able to achieve what she wants, and together we will be able to collaborate on a look that she is wanting to achieve.
You said you're married. What was your guys' wedding like? How was that?
Well, my husband's from Tennessee, so we did the Tennessee wedding.
What is that?
Just we had barbecue.
Like whiskey, a lot of whiskey.
We actually didn't have whiskey. A girlfriend of mine, she is Greek, and she brought a sangria. It was like a mixture of all sorts of things, but we had like the twinkling lights that looked like the light bugs in Tennessee, and bohemian. So everything that I was saying that I want to change is what I had for my wedding. No, it was beautiful. It was very laid back, and he's military. And so we had a whole bunch of his soldier brothers there, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
How did you handle your hair and makeup?
It was down and natural.
Did you have a friend do it, or
no? I did it, of course. I don't know what I was thinking. One of my best friends, she also works with DivineTouch. She helped with the hair and makeup as well. Of course, I pushed the timeline back because I was late, and just everything was reverse of what I talk about all the time. It's so funny. But yeah, it was one of those things I was like, man, I should have hired hair and makeup, but I waited last minute to do that. So
it's funny. I did the same thing, and I had someone do the video, and I edited it, but I was trying to do like a live stream for my grandpa because he was in Oregon. He couldn't travel, and like I'm running around like a vendor, and it was what I tell people nowadays all the time, like just have fun and relax. And like I was definitely not too. Isn't it funny how that is?
It's so funny. I've talked to numerous vendors that are the same thing, like, oh, I decided to do it myself, and probably should have hired somebody to do that. It's like the last thing that we want to worry about, but we're worrying about it. So funny. Yeah,
it is tough though, because I do feel like I struggled with when people know you're a vendor, and the way, like, it's like if you're an accountant and you're helping your kids with your math homework or something, like there is like a different level of scrutiny.
There is, and I have so many girlfriends getting married, and there's always the question of, oh, can you do my hair and makeup? But deep down, I just want to just celebrate the wedding with them. But of course, I'm always honored to do the hair and makeup. So I'm always going to be there for them. But it's definitely, I'm sure it's the same thing for you. It's like, no, I just want to be a supporter, not the supportee.
Yeah, I have a tough time balancing that because I like to be involved. So it's hard for me to not be involved. It's hard for me just to attend the wedding because I'm sitting there kind of looking around like, oh, I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah.
How are you? So you talk about big growth and lofty goals. And so where do you kind of see this go? Where do you want to be in the next year or 2 years? Where are you trying to expand? Where are you trying to grow? And how are you trying to do that?
Yeah. So I ultimately want DivineTouch to be an agency. So offering the hair and makeup, we're actually going to be adding eyelash extensions this season, the permanent eyelash extensions, which is going to be exciting and nice because I have a lot of brides who, want the eyelash extensions, but not the temporary. So offering that service is going to be great. Eventually we want to do spray tans. You just kind of want to just do it all. So got to keep building the team and just take over Washington. That's what we need to do. So
how do you, because I struggle with, I have, subcontractors and stuff too, and finding people that really, just speak to your vision and speak to your ethics. How do you, make sure that you're finding people? Because that's something I work through too, is trying to find people that, can represent and, carry on a brand that isn't necessarily theirs. It's, it's yours. You're kind of imparting.
Yeah. I've never looked at myself as like a manager of sorts. I don't know. That was always kind of weird to be an owner of something, I suppose, because, being on the opposite side for so many years, it's like, oh, I could never be a quote unquote boss. So I think I just kind of give off different vibes. I love my team. They do such amazing work. And I think if you have a really big support system behind what you do, everybody's going to flourish. And as of right now, we're 5 stars. So let's just keep it going. And nobody wants to get the 1 star. So, once again, maybe it's being competitive. Then maybe that's what it is. But I just see not only attracting amazing brides, but attracting amazing artists as well to beautify those beautiful brides. And that's kind of where I stand with building a team. People reaching out and making sure you're doing the appropriate interviews and making sure that they're confident with doing the bride and taking over a bridal party. It's confidence level, because you can teach people anything, but they have to have the desire to succeed and watch a company grow as well.
Because it's more than just, skill. It's dependability, and it's ethics or whatever. But, you can find lots of people that know how to do makeup, but it's finding people that can connect with the brides like you want to connect and stuff,
being personable. And because we don't have a salon or a studio right now, you definitely have to hope that people make it there on time and don't call out sick last minute, because they're in control of that bride, or not control, but you know what I mean?
Well, it's up to them. I mean,
they're running the show.
Yeah, they got, I know what you mean. It's on them to get it. If it's same with me, somebody's like, you got to get there, man. You got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out. If you're on your deathbed, that bride does not care, because that show is still going on. So get it together. But also to touch base on, next couple of years, a studio.
Is that in the cards?
I want to do a studio for trials. It's, sometimes it's convenient when you do have somebody coming from Everett or super far and they don't want to sit through that Seattle traffic. Because typically sometimes trials end on work days, not necessarily weekends, because that's for weddings. A studio is nice. It's right in the middle of Seattle, no travel fees, things like that. So that's in the works, to have a studio.
Lofty goals. What do you wish more people knew about you personally? What do you do when you're not, running the show and trying to grow?
Well, you'll see me not wearing heels. That's a good one. Working out, being a mom, just, supporting my husband with his goals and dreams. He's going to school for film right now, which is amazing. And, I just think we want to be a powerhouse household. So just pushing each other, knowing that I'm in the back still grinding when I'm not in front doing hair and makeup. So.
Yeah, talk about your kids real quick before we let you go. What do you got going on with those munchkins?
Oh, those munchkins. I have an 11-year-old little girl named Alexa, and she's in middle school. Oh my goodness, 6th grade. And she does 2 sports. So she's out here being super active in softball and cross country. And then I have a wonderful little boy named Bo, who's 2, little Spitfire. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We like to bake cookies and watch Curious George.
What's it like balancing, working and being a mom and being a wife and, your husband? And how does that, I talk all the time with vendors that have kids that we don't have kids yet. And it's like trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
How do you?
I think it just kind of comes natural. It's just a routine. You got to make things work. And people have to know that when you're not reaching out to them or they might not hear from you as often, that, you're doing things for your family. You got to step it up to the plate. If you want to be traveling like what we want to do within the next 5 years, we got to make sacrifices. But the sacrifices don't seem like sacrifices when you do it together. So
that's a great answer.
Thank you.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming in and, getting to catch up again face to face. And
Yes.
I got to send you Melody and James's video.
So excited to see it.
It was just great to catch up again. And like I said, getting just other voices on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And it's so great to kind of feature different vendor types and getting to, chat with hair and makeup people is always awesome.
Thank you for letting me come and talk about DT Artistry. This is amazing. So
if people want to learn more about you guys and your team and all the different services you offer, where would you have them check out? Where's the best places?
Yeah. So our website, which is www.DivineTouch onsite, HMUA.com.
Yeah. Or just, they can Google Divine
They can Google it too.
And obviously on Instagram and everything as well.
Facebook, it's all under the same name.
And you guys are like super active on there. I mean, I always
So
see,
active. Yep.
Is that something that you really strive to kind of hit all the time?
Absolutely. If you're not active is when people kind of strive away to other places. So as long as I am in everybody's face 24/7, then we will be good.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been so fun. If you're like Christine and you are interested in coming on the podcast, you can go to www.bestmadevideos.com/podcast guest. And that's a great and easy questionnaire to fill out to come on. And if I haven't worked you through before, know who you are. And thank you again. This has been so fun.
Thank you so much.
This has been another episode of Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. Check back next week for another wedding vendor interview. Thanks so much.